I'm a child of God. I'm born again. So, for me, being a Christian group, I'm really happy about that. Because I know who I serve. I know who has brought me this far. I know who has been with me in my journey as I have been traveling. So, to me, it is, I'm in church and I'm happy about that. Before we start, can we please open our Bible, if you have one, even if it's on the cell phone? There's a scripture I'm interested in. Ecclesiastes chapter 7. I will be using the Bible, not that much though. But Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 29. There's a version I'm interested in. If somebody can just read it for us. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 29.
I'm reading from the NLT. It says, "But I find this, God created people to be virtuous, but they have each turned to follow their own downward path."
They've decided to follow their what?
Their own downward path.
That is it. Another version, please.
"See, this alone I found. God made human beings straightforward, but they search for many complications."
Thank you. That's the one I'm interested in. And they searched for what? For many complications. So who has complicated? We are the ones that have complicated ourselves. God made us, and we decided to complicate ourselves. And we've definitely complicated ourselves. We've made things difficult for ourselves. When God made men, and we are supposed to be doing what God expected of us, but we've actually complicated ourselves. Well, talking about business, I'll start off from, just a small section that is rising above wasters. And like I said, I'll be using the Bible that's why I decided to bring my own. And I was in Bible Society, so I promote somebody carrying the Bible itself. It's good we can use our cell phones, but I promote us carrying the real one. And then can you read another scripture? I'll just read the 3 scriptures, and then from there we start. And then the other one is taken from Matthew 25, verse 14 to 30. Okay, I'll just talk about it instead of, it's quite a long scripture. Matthew 25 and verses 14 to 30. It talks about Christ feeding the 5,000. Like Pastor spoke, other people, will come for whatever. They followed Christ for whatever, but it talks about Christ feeding the 5,000. And then there were 12 baskets. And what did he say? There were leftovers. He said, collect the 12 baskets, which means Christ does not want us to be wasters. He doesn't want us to waste what he has given us. He doesn't want us to throw away what we already have, the 12 baskets of. He said, go ahead and collect the leftovers. And they collected 12 baskets of it. That's already a lesson on its own, that we are not supposed to throw away what God has actually given us. Whatever we have, we must use it, and we must use it properly. And then another scripture, it's that, that one was taken from Mark 6, and then it was 39 to 52, the one which talks about the feeding of the 5,000. And then another scripture that I also have, it is that of Matthew 25, 14, which talks about talents. Who doesn't have a talent here? Who doesn't have a gift here? We may have our gifts, but what have we done? Buried them. Like the one who was given just that one talent. What did that person do? He decided to bury his talent. In other words, if that person, after the master came, or if the person had died, he would have actually buried what? His talent. He buried his talent. If the person had died, he would have died with what? With his talent. What are we doing with our talents? Are we going to die with the talents that have been given to us? God has given us talents. We see somebody passing on. We see somebody dying. The person is dying with talents. The person is dying loaded. The person didn't expose herself or himself. The person had the talents, but the talents were buried. The talents were inside. The person didn't stand up to actually show the talents that God had actually given him. From the talents, the person decided to go and bury them. In other words, if the person had died, he would have died with all those talents. What are we doing with our own talents? What are you doing with your talents? When I say you, please, I'm also referring to myself. So it's not just you directly, but I'm included as well. What are we doing with our talents? And then the last scripture that we're going to look at is Hosea 4, verse 6. People are destroyed because of lack of what? Knowledge. So in other words, it is important that we have that knowledge and we make use of it. People are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. People are destroyed because of lack of knowledge, because of the ignorance that one has. So it is important for us to actually go out and find out, get more information so that we go out and we learn more. There is nothing one is going to learn inside one's house enclosed, sitting there. We need to go out so that we get the knowledge, and then we start applying the knowledge, and then we can start talking about a business. Which business am I going to do if I'm sitting inside my own house? Which business am I going to do if I'm locked into myself? I need to go out. And when I go out, then I will get to see the type of business that one may actually do. I will start off with, now that we've read those scriptures, I'll start off with rising above wasters. We talked about the 12 baskets that is feeding the 5,000. That was Mark 6:39. What do you do with your money? We all go to work. Is anybody who's not working? If you have a business, you are also employed in that particular business. What do we do with our money? Where do we use it? What do we use it for? Half the time, you'll find that we waste it. Impulse buying. You will see something, especially as ladies, we see something, we want to buy it. We like it, we want to buy it. We have so many of these things in our house. We have so many of these dishes in our house. But what are we doing? We are keeping them. Special dishes for who? Because you are the special person in your own house. You are keeping them for your visitors. You are the special person in that particular house. But you are keeping your things because you want them to show off with them when your friends come that I've got this particular. Look at our wardrobes. They are packed. Both male and female. Let's look at our wardrobes. They are also pegged. So many things that are out there. So many people that are out there, they don't have enough clothes. A colleague of mine, 3 of them, one from Uganda, one from Kenya, I think the other one was from Tanzania. 3 of them, they just decided to buy food. Left Uniswa, they drove, and on their way to the border gate, Lavomisa border gate, they were looking at those houses and they were dropping parcels there. I was embarrassed when they said that. On Monday when they came, they said, we decided to take a drive. I said, where did you people go? Me, I'm thinking because I like traveling. Where did you people go? We went to Lavomisa, and then you came. No, we just stopped somewhere. We looked at some houses. We had bought a packet of, there was sugar, there was mealie meal, there was this and that, and then we were dropping it. Look at our wardrobes. Look at the clothes that are there. Somebody out there is hungry. Somebody out there, it's winter, needs clothes. I know we are talking about business. All I'm saying it is, let's stop wasting. All I'm after in that, it is, let's stop wasting. We justify what we are buying. But it's called, I need this jersey. And we will buy that jersey because it is on fashion. It is the jerseys that are being worn at that time. In other 4-5 months' time, another fashion comes, and I have to keep up with the Jones who are actually broke. But I want to be part and parcel of them. Because the Jones, they are living on debt. Now, do I also want to live on debt? Because I want to meet up, I want to keep up with the Jones. The Jones are living on debt. And because now I want to copy them so that I'm actually seen in town. I'm one of those. So then when they look at me, definitely wasting. The 12 baskets, pick them up and keep them and use them properly. Whatever we have, the money that we have, let's look at it. Let's use it accordingly. The question it is, what will people say? That's much of the time that we ask ourselves. But if I don't do this, what will people say? How will people actually feel? What will people think? Why are we being manipulated by people? Why are we being controlled by the next person who is sitting next to you? Why don't you look at yourself and think about yourself? No, but what will people say? You are yourself. You are not people. And it is you and you alone. And you are the one that you're supposed to be enjoying. But you are thinking, what will people say? We will look at you and say, oh, that's a very beautiful bag. That's a very nice bag. And then what after that? You've impressed me. I said, that's a nice bag. Then what? How much have you spent on that particular bag? So much. Then what? You've bought it. Then what? That's a very, or with men. Oh, that's a very nice shoe. I think men they like shoes. Oh, that's a very nice shoe. You've got the shoe. Then what? What is the shoe going to bring to you? Satisfaction, because we will see it and we will say it is a very nice shoe. But then what? Because I want to impress. When they see me in Babane, they must see so and so. They've seen you, and then you have to go and pay for that shoe. The price, the shoe. I spoke to somebody who said, I go to China and I buy these wristwatches. And because I know men, you know how much I buy them for? When I asked, he said, I only get them for 50 rands, and I come and I sell them for 500, 750. And I target men because they will buy them. Now we are wearing that wristwatch bought from China for for 50 rands, and you think you've spent 750. Your money, you've just given it away. 700 rands was given away because that wristwatch was 50 rands. I'm not saying we shouldn't buy from our hawkers, but think twice before we go out and we start buying. Let's stop being manipulated by people. Let's not spend money in haste. Think, what is it that I need? Do I really need this? So before I just go ahead and be controlled by people, let me make sure that it's not that craziness. I need to buy this. Let's not, also in other words, let's not allow to waste our money. Do I need it really before I actually go about it? And let's not be controlled by emotions. Personally, when I'm frustrated, I take it out on food. I eat. When I'm frustrated, I really eat. But let's not take it out on emotions. That doesn't mean now I have to go from one restaurant to another restaurant because I'm taking out my frustration. Let me eat and be full. So then, balance emotions with reality. If I spend this money and spend it on my meal, which is going to cost me 300 rand or 250 rand, that particular meal, meanwhile, there's electricity at home that needs to be paid for. Meanwhile, there's this at home. So let's not be controlled by emotions. I'm giving an example of myself, somebody that likes somebody that likes food. I mean, well, I take it out on food. Another thing, I said we waste. The next one, it is spending. We spend. Average people, like some of us, we make the money, we pay bills. You make money, you go and you spend it on bills. Do we save? Do we invest? And we always have wrong excuses. That no, but I don't have enough money, so I cannot save. We will never have enough money. We will never have enough money. The little, let's start saving. I started saving with Stanlib, 400 Malangini a month. I even forgot it was just being deducted from my account, that 400 Malangini. Later when I checked, I realized that I've made so much money after some years, because I even forgot that, realized that, okay, I've made so much money. So then let's not just spend without thinking. We make our money. I personally believe in tithes. I don't play those games. Tithes come first. Whatever I do, my tithes, I don't play games with tithes. I have seen them. I always say I wish I would have the faith that I have when it comes to tithes. I always say I wish I would have the faith that I have, because my tithes, I have to part with them. There is no game there. I mentioned earlier that I'm a Christian. And being a Christian, I'm born again. And being born again, I believe in giving my 10%. So my 10% has to. I was talking to incidentally, the church that I go to, the countries where they come from, there are so many Muslims that are there. Muslims, they give. Even though they are not Christians, Muslims believe in giving. And they believe when they give, their money is going to be multiplied. And then Christians will start saying, I will only give after. I pay my expenses, and then I'll put my tithes after. Like I say, I believe in tithing. You get my salary? Do your tithes. You get your salary? Do your tithes. I take it I'm talking to Christians as well. Circle savings. We do not save after we've paid our bills. Number one, it's your tithes. Number two, tell yourself, I'm going to save so much money every month. And then go and spend the 70% on paying the bills, on paying the food, because if you have not taken out the money for savings, then you'll never save. And I believe, and I have seen it, that take out your tithes first. Because if you do not take your tithes first, the money will get finished before you even pay your tithes. And before month end, you are already borrowing. But take out your tithes first. And then take the money that you want to save. And then thereafter go and spend the rest on whatever that you need to spend on. Somebody said we need to cut our coat according to the material, not the size. Cut your coat according to the material, not your size. Because your size, when we talk about your size, it's overweight. There are wants that are there. There are needs that are there. So if you cut according to your size, then in other words, you are including the wants, you are including the needs. And really, are the wants really things that you really need? Definitely no. So cut it according to the material that you have. In other words, let me live within my 70%. Let me teach myself to live within my 70%. I have done my savings, and I've also paid my tithes. We can start off say, okay, let me live within the 80%. The 10% is tithing, and then the other 10% I'm trying to save. And then from there, let me live. And then you'll be cutting down on your wants every month until you are able probably to save, let's say maybe about your 20%. Number 3, I would say it is invest. Invest your money. I said we will never get enough. But from the little that we have, let's invest it. I'll expand on investing later on because we're talking about business. And then there are things that are going to influence you. The environment is going to affect you. The environment is going to influence you on what you're going to do. Be careful, watchful. Exposure will also influence you. Like I said, personally, I love traveling. That I enjoy. That is where I waste my money. But I don't just travel. I try and save at the end of the year. Normally, I like traveling in January. When people are now coming back, that's when I want to go out and see how I can enjoy myself. Usually, December, prices of everything is high. You want to buy your ticket, it is expensive, it is high. So I personally like traveling, and I prefer to travel beginning of the year. When, everybody else is now coming back and all, then I go out quietly. Read books. There are so many books that one can read about businesses. The documents, exposure helps a lot. Talking to other people, it helps a lot. Reading books, it helps a lot. When you are traveling, it's not just the traveling. Look at other things. What is it that I can actually do? And pick up. Association and relationships. Where you will be in the next 5 years is dependent on your friends. It's also dependent on the books, or let me say on your exposure. We normally say, show me your friends, and I will tell you the type of a person that you are. If then our friends, it is sitting and gossiping, what am I picking up from there? Let's talk, it's fine. Let's gossip, it's fine. But I shouldn't be wasting my time on gossiping. What's going to determine where you'll be in the next 5 years is the type of friends you are keeping. What are you discussing with your friends? Are we discussing business? Are we discussing opportunities? What is it that we are discussing? So let's be careful of the type of friends that we have. Visions. Some of our visions are quite small. And yet God has given us, quite a lot. Let's dream big. See yourself as an inventor. See yourself as coming up with somebody else, with something. We know the story of KFC. He tried so many things. KFC, when he started his business, he was already old. He didn't start his business when he was still young. He started the business when he was already old. And he did very well. Today we're talking of KFC. There are so many people that have tried, failed. But you'll find that one that you'll do it and you'll find that you keep up and that is it. Failing is not that's the end of it all. You are trying something and it's not working out. But you'll finally come up with something that will be very helpful. I said we're going to talk about invest. Let's look at investing. Money hides, I'll just say, in about 10 different places, so to say. One of them, money is hiding in you people. You are the ones that have got money. If I come up with something and I sell you my Bible, you'll definitely want it. If you have an interest in it, you'll buy this particular Bible. Money is hiding in people's hands. So if money is hiding in people's hands, then look out. What is it that people want? Once you identify it, and people like it, they'll definitely buy it because they see the value in it. In what you are coming up with, they will buy it. So money is hiding inside people. It's the people that have the money. What is it that they want? Identify that niche, take advantage of it, and run with it. Another thing, money hides in problems. Whatever is a problem to you, it means you can make money out of it. I hope we get that. Whatever is a problem to you, when solving it, it means you can make money out of it. But we see problems, and then that's just about it. I'll give an example of one doctor I was talking to at Mkiwa, a Cuban doctor, who said, you people, you say you are hungry in Swaziland. No, you are not. You say you are poor. No, you are not. That's a medical doctor. He said, I'm from Cuba. I'm going to go for these particular classes, piggery. I want to raise them. And then he said, I'll go for farming. In Cuba, we do not have enough land. You people, there's so much vast land. And all you need to do is to go to a chief and get the land and start planting and start growing. And then you tell me poverty and you're hungry. It's because you want to be poor. That is what that medical doctor said to me. Me, I had gone to hospital, and as we're talking, and then he said, you are at Faculty of Careers, and then he said, you people, you say you are poor. It's because you want to be poor. You people say you are hungry. It is because you want to be hungry. I'm going to start a piggery business. I'm going to go into farming, and I'll still be a doctor, by the way. That doesn't mean because I'm doing this, then it means I'm going to stop. No, I will continue doing my work at Mkiwa, but this is what I want to do on the side. So problems. The problem he faced in Cuba brought him to Swaziland. And now that he's in Swaziland, he is seeing businesses. In other words, the problem that I'm facing is the problem that is supposed to help me to start my own business as well. I don't know what problems you face, but whatever problem you come across, look at it as an idea for a business that one can actually do. So every problem we can actually say it's money in disguise. Seeing a need and meeting to draw that money from that particular problem. I don't know what is your problem. I'll give an example with our doctor here. One, being sick, it's a problem. But it's a business for the doctor. Sickness is a business for the doctor. The problem that one is facing, it's an answer to somebody else. The teacher, it's a business. Somebody being ignorant there and you are helping that individual, that's a business for you. So let's go out and solve other problems. Think of the people that transport business. I remember in Manzini, there used to be, it was owned by Mr. Zwane. I still had my own children at that time. Malkens Valley School Bus, I think. He was about the only person running that business at that particular time. He had a grandchild from Manzini to Malkens Valley. And he realized that he needed to start that business of a bus. For some time, Manzini, Malkens, he was the only person running that particular business. Before other people started copying, doing that particular business. It was a problem to him to be driving all the way from Manzini to Malkens to drop that one child. So why don't I add other children so that I take them to Malkens? Later, it became a bus. It was Malkens bus, Malkens school bus, something like that. But it wasn't owned by the Malkens Valley School. It was his own. But driving from Manzini to Malkens, I'm sure he realized that this is going to be too much for me. Started collecting other children. Later, it was a bigger bus, and it was going up and down Manzini. It was a problem for him that turned into a business. Look at the problem that you are facing that you can change and turn it into a business. Another thing, money hides in gifts and talents. We spoke about the talents. One decided to go and bury. If he had died, he would have died with his talent. I'm sure we're not going to die with our own as well. No single individual is not gifted. We all have our own talents. Personally, I like going to do my hair, and I normally braid it. But I do not go to somebody who is employed. I want to go to somebody who is running her own. Whenever I go and I do my own, I go to somebody that is running her own business. This one wants to have an employer. And if I do go to where the person is being employed, when the owner of the business is out, I usually ask, you mean you'll be doing people's hair for the rest of your lives, being employed and getting the 600 they are giving you? Why don't you start your own? I normally say that. I said, you are busy. Our hair is, it's dirty, it's smelling, and you are doing it for somebody else who is sitting at home and sleeping there, and you are the one doing it. Why don't you start your own? Go out and start your own business. Even if it's under the tree, we will come and we will do our own. Why are you employed? And yet you are the one who is doing the braiding. But you are employed by somebody and you are just happy because you are getting the 400, you are getting the 1,000 they are giving you. You are excited about it. Instead of, you go there, how much are you going to pay? 200, 250, 300. It goes into somebody's pocket. And you are sitting, and the owner is sitting there sleeping at home. Instead of you going out and doing it. We all have our talents. The person that is braiding has a talent and is now being employed and now is now doing it. Why don't we stand up and do our own? If I'm being employed, it is fine. Then because we all want to be business people, and definitely we will employ other people. But at the same time, then let me be reasonable to the person that I'm paying as well. It shouldn't be just for the sake, everything then is going to come back to me. Gold is tied in our hands. Profits, they are tied. Those profits, it's tied. It's our potential. The treasure is actually the talent that we actually have. The woman with we're saying gold is tied in our hands. The woman where Elijah asked, what do you have in your hand? He said, but a cup of oil. Did not realize what he actually had, what she had in her hand. What do you have but a cup of oil? All I have is just a cup of oil. Did not realize if you mix this oil and you mix it with Christ, look at the benefits that you're going to get. She just saw a small cup of oil. With this oil and with Christ included in there, definitely there is something you're going to benefit out of it. With this little oil, and you are using it, and you are taking your talents, and you are taking your tithes out of it, look at what you're going to benefit from it. The woman says, yes, but a jar of oil, that is what I have, and they are ready to take my children as creditors. But meanwhile, there was something in her hand. What did Christ say to Moses? What is in your hand? He said a rod. Because according to me and you, it is a rod. According to Christ, it is something else. You take that rod and you talk to Christ about what you are carrying in your hand. You talk to Christ about that rod, God will change it into something else. Something that will deliver you. Moses' rod was to deliver the children of Israel. You have something in your hand that will deliver you. And let it deliver you. What do you have in your hand? What are you using that you have in your hand? Because what you have in your hand is supposed to deliver you. Don't wait for somebody to come and deliver. You can deliver yourself with what you have in your hand. The gifts that are there. The hobby. Such and such a thing is my hobby. Such and such a thing is my hobby. It's that hobby that is going to change your life. But we are not looking at it as something that can change our lives. Money also hides in opportunities. Opportunities are doorways that are going to lead us to a new level of life. One man's problem is another man's opportunity.